Board of Education regular working meeting, 6/17/2025 at 6:03, the Wallace Central Office Building. All board members are present, Hargis via Zoom. Need an approval for the agenda.
Make a motion.
John, do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comments? Board member comments? Becky?
Well, you know, I always have comments, right? So, a couple of things. Just a reminder that July the 11th and the 12th is KSBA Summer Leadership in Lexington. Totally optional, but if you want to go, Jody said to let her know and she'll get you registered. It's a Friday and a Saturday. They have several different options planned for hours. Again, totally optional. Also, reminder, 7/26, we've got our retreat scheduled. I did register or get a room there at the library, our local library, for the conference room. Hargis, I tried River's Edge. I can't get a hold of anybody up there. I've called them, I've emailed them, I filled out a form on their website. I asked them if maybe they could give us, a tour and give us a conference room for a day. Haven't heard from them, so I just went on and got the library, just so we're safe.
Hey, no hurt to try.
It doesn't hurt to try. I'm not sure they're up and running yet, but anyway. So the topics for the retreat so far, I think, is gifted and talented. Sounds like Amanda might have another topic that we can add to it, so just keep track of whatever we want to talk about. Let's see. Mr. Arvin just said he's got some documentation to give us after the meeting, so he'll get that to us to consider for superintendent evaluation, which is coming up.
Are we keeping?
Yeah, well, it looks that way.
Okay.
There is a resource on KSBA website, and Jake, you might want to speak to this. It is frequently asked questions on Senate Bill 181. This is the traceable communication bill that, I'm sorry, Hargis, this is just kind of a mess. I mean, what was the intent of this?
Jake, did you get my email?
I did get your email. My computer is dead, and there's not a single plug on this entire wall. But I've worked on this. It is a pretty good Q&A, and I think Hart's referring to me because we actually talked about this earlier today, and he did send me an email, which I can pull up here with what Hargis. It starts out Hargis' summary. I guess you want me to read this, Hargis?
Yeah, that's just my summary of it.
Yeah.
And what I believe on it and what the intent of the law is.
I'll just read the part that's related to school communications, but it says the purpose of the bill, I believe the purpose of the bill is strengthening child protections in schools and state systems through communication rules, curriculum controls, and faster disciplinary and reporting action. As for the school communication restrictions, all staff, student, electronic communication should be through traceable district review systems. No texting, social media, or personal emails with students unless the parent gives written consent. The communication is logged and revocable. There's a lot of issues. I mean, where I come down at, I've had a lot of districts I've gotten, they're all over this thing. Some people are like, this makes common sense to me. The spirit makes common sense to me that we don't want teachers texting, Snapchatting with students. Frankly, that's kind of where our office comes down at, but we're kind of a little jaded. We've just seen way too many instances of teachers sending, communications inappropriate. I mean, they weren't even inappropriate communications. But why are you sending Facebook messages with a student at like 3 o'clock in the morning? I mean, I don't think you should be doing that. Is this going to stop it? Probably not. I mean, maybe you just move to Snapchat where it just disappears. I don't know that it stops it. There's a lot of people that have raised some concerns. Well, I'm a step parent. I'm not, included in this as somebody who can text with my stepchild. And in a lot of small rural districts, is this going to prevent me from texting with my stepchild? Yeah, probably will. Another instance that was raised by one of my districts earlier this week was, one of the teachers is also a Sunday school teacher that, my Sunday school teacher didn't text me, but apparently this one does text their students, I don't know, remember to study your Bible verse or whatever it is. And they're like, well, that's going to prevent her from texting her Sunday school class. My response, it does on the face of it. I think that the solutions are to get a waiver. Allows for waivers. You can put the burden on the teacher to get a waiver. Maybe that's unfair, but that's the law at the moment until somebody changes it. There's been some talk about, should a couple of school districts sue to stop this. They haven't. It's going to go into effect. Nobody's going to get a lawsuit and an injunction that quickly, I don't believe. I'm not even sure that it would be successful because, a lot of people have said, the teachers have said it violates the First Amendment right. I don't know that you ever had a First Amendment right to text a minor. I've actually had a district ask me to research that in depth, which I'm going to do later this week. But I believe that to be the law. You don't have a constitutional right under current Supreme Court case law to text with a minor. You just have to communicate with the parent. And so I think the thing would survive a constitutional challenge. Got some practical issues that I think are going to have to be ironed out for the time being. I think for the issues such as a step parent, okay, well, get your husband to sign a waiver. That may be kind of clumsy, but I think that's where we're at for the moment. Same for the Sunday school class. Some other things like coaches or different ones have been raised. You can get some systems that, for instance, I've got some districts they're gonna use. Forget the name of it, doors or rooms or whatever, and they're going to create like rooms. That's like, but they're going to create like the group for the team so that you can communicate there. I think that's doable. Probably not the end of the world. I think some parents are going to, actually said they want to be included in those. They can see what's being said, right or wrong. It's the law, and I think it's probably valid. It's probably constitutional when I say valid. Yeah.
By reaching that low at the end of the day, is it not truly up to the school board of what app we approve for them to use? Does the board, the way the law is currently written?
That's right, yeah.
Understanding of it, we can approve apps for our employees to use the stuff, correct?
That's right, yes. And some districts are using different apps, and you can use more than one. And you can use an app and, email. Email's going to qualify. There's a couple other of exceptions that, I shouldn't say exceptions, but loopholes isn't right. But there's a couple of other tools that, some people have suggested are still being looked into. But currently, districts have the ability to monitor emails, and so, emails would be okay.
Becky, joint education committee, they went in the session last month, and when I get back, if you want one day, maybe you can take a trip to Frankfurt, meet with them, and see if we can maybe get them to look into redefining this bill more. You can come at it from the KSBA point of view on it, I'll come at it as, hey, dumbass, that's where we're going.
Well, it just seems complicated and, we need something simple. But anyway, I just bring it up because KSBA does have a FAQ on the website if you want to get a little more familiar with it. I was amazed at really how complicated it can be. But I'm glad to know, the intention of it and that, hopefully some good comes out of it. I believe that is all I have.
Thank you. Ashley? Nope. John?
No.
Vargas?
I reserve.
Alrighty. Moving on to staff student reports. A, enrollment attendance report, Mr. Eddie Bushelman.
How's attendance this month?
We're winning.
Attendance is the best it's ever been. No attendance report this month. We are in the summer.
But how is summer school going? We're in that, right?
Yes.
Know anything on
Yeah.
that? We doing good on that attendance wise?
Kids are coming, they're engaged in some project-based learning, at least I've been over at the upper and lower elementary. The lunches look fabulous, the kids are enjoying that time together, but there's lots of project-based learning going on, the kids are engaged and.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
many students do we have enrolled? That could be a trick question.
We're getting our facts.
Yeah, I don't know how many each building brought in. I mean, that's not something I asked. So,
And there's 2 3-week sessions, right?
well, this year there's one. So,
1 3-week
wanted to try and do another one potentially in July in the future, but just budgetarily right now, we're sticking with the traditional.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah,
Maybe you can get
I
back
can
to
find
us.
out.
Yeah,
We'll email you and let you know.
yeah. They'll get back to us, August.
Alrighty. Mr. Tony Jury, CAO, is he here?
No, he's in Texas.
That's fine. Moving on to C, Superintendent Report, Mr. David Arby.
Summer is moving along. I'm shocked at how busy June has been, at least for me. Several meetings with the new superintendent, cohort work. Spent a couple days in Frankfurt. We had a superintendent session in Lexington last Monday and Tuesday, so just been very busy with that, working through the hiring of a new upper elementary principal, and all the meetings and from site base and everything that go along with that. So that's been kept us hopping to say the least. But things are going in a great direction. We're excited. We're kind of hitting the point where everybody's going to be taking a little bit of time off here and there, but we'll all be back in here second week of July, ready to rock and roll and get things lined out and ready for the new year. So, and just a little side note that we may make an adjustment to, I don't know, and I spoke with John earlier, and if it says that in there, if talking about Senate Bill 181, if the board needs to approve the communication tool that we're using, that's something that we may need to potentially add to the agenda tonight if that needs board approval.
No, I mean, it doesn't,
If not,
Really
I can
have to.
discuss with them what we're gonna do currently.
yeah, I mean, I would discuss with what you're gonna do. I mean, KSB just said put it in your policy, and your policy's not due till August, so I know there's gonna be a little of, lag behind there, but, I mean, that's what everybody's doing, and it'll be done before school's in session.
Okay,
So, I mean, it was intended to be in your policy. I mean, you all could have a motion and vote if you want to approve that program, that app,
okay.
which one you selected,
Well, and that's something we can look at the next
but it'll be in
one.
the policy, written, but you all can.
So it
approve
really doesn't take effect though until August.
Well, it'll be
July
before
1.
school's coming back.
Okay.
But the bill itself is effective June the 27th.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. The students won't be in yet.
So, go ahead, Harger, sorry.
Should we hold off on that, Jackie, so give Mr. Armin some time to look at the apps and things that, and the principals, and give them time to look at the apps and things that they may want to use?
We've already been doing that.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
part of what we've been
he
doing.
told me earlier today, I think, which one he's going to prefer to go with. But yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, the KSBA has not recommended that you have to approve the app prior to the June 27th. They're going to be including it in their policy and procedure update, which doesn't have to be approved by statute till the middle of August. So, I mean, if you don't want to approve that app tonight, that's fine. If he wants to investigate some more, or if you want to be doubly cautious, you could.
I didn't know that we had already had one, Jake, that's why I was
Yeah.
trying to find him some time to look at something.
I appreciate that. No, that's something we've been investigating, and Mr. Level's been meeting with, he's met half a dozen, if not more, vendors, going through kind of, and meeting with them. Kind of what we have settled on for this upcoming school year is Class Dojo. It's something that should be familiar to parents. They have used it in the elementary setting. It meets all the requirements of the traceable communication. They have updated some features for middle and high to make it less kiddie and more, teen and, late teen friendly. And so really easy to use. The majority of teachers should be very familiar with it. They offer free trainings. We've already got some set up. We've sent things out. We're trying to make sure coaches that have current seasons that are going right now, that'll come back after the dead period, have the ability to be trained and get this up and going so they can be compliant once July rolls around and sports are moving along. Spoke with John today about the potential for maybe something a little more athletic focused because, you know, anybody with kids in sports know they have certain apps and those things do work better for that type of communication. I spoke with Ms. Otten this afternoon about one she recommended. Mr. Level had met with them before. The hang-up gets into the traceable communication piece, and our issue with them was if a request came in for information, then we had to let them know we were requesting it, and then they would gather it and send it back to us. And to me, that did not meet the letter of the law, that at any point in time, we need to be able to have access it. That's also us, you know, them interpreting what we want to see and not see. Like, we have no way of knowing because we don't have direct access to it. So that's why I told her we chose not to go with that app in lieu of something where we do have physical at any point in time. Mr. Level could pull up, see any communication made by any member of our staff throughout the entirety of the district. So that's where we're starting. So it doesn't mean if we find something that meets criteria as we transition sports seasons, maybe we could move athletics off to something else. But right now, we're going to pick one thing so we can streamline it and go with that. It could be potential to add a second. Email's always an option. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now with that. And information has been sent out to principals. I wasn't necessarily going to send anything out to teachers yet, again, because it's the summer. There's questions that come up with that. That'll be a topic that we have for opening day, do training, help make sure that they get everything set up correctly. And by then, some of this stuff will hopefully, you know, have maybe a little more information so we can make sure information is adequately communicated to them.
For the motion on the floor.
Too.
I don't think there is.
No, I was just,
Oh, okay.
I say add it to the retreat list. And,
Yeah, that's what I just said, and then we can discuss.
if we vote on something, we're voting on something we know nothing about. I'm not a fan of that.
And it may change by then too, so.
So just,
Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna change. The law's not gonna change, I don't think, for them. I don't think.
All right, did everybody get a chance to look at the SBDM agenda minutes and human resource actions? Yes. Okay. Moving on to 6, consent agenda. Everybody get a chance to look at that?
make a motion, we approve.
I have one question, real quick, Jake, legal question.
Yeah,
I don't need a long answer or anything. Item 16, review approve out-of-school district applications.
yeah.
Now, under House Bill 421, every one of those kids that's going out of districts, those schools could potentially charge us for those kids now, correct?
Potentially, under certain circumstances. David and I talked about this earlier today. He told me you had concern about that. I mean, I don't think that would happen, and I think they had to have given you notice prior to this point to charge for this upcoming school year. But there is a provision in that House bill that in the future, you know, if they're going to start receiving a Gallatin County kid, you know, could they send you a bill potentially? You know, I think there's a question: should we agree, or should that district have an agreement with us that they don't bill us? Potentially, I think people are looking at that for upcoming years.
Well, our list is approving out of district to be allowed to go to school here.
Yeah, but
You're
I think
saying
he's,
the district could charge us, right?
yeah, well, that would be the reverse. It would
Reverse,
be,
yeah,
yes, the
reverse.
reverse.
And so the
Yeah.
question would be, kids that live in Gallatin that are going to Grant or going to Carroll, could they send us a
Right,
bill?
right,
Right.
And the hope is that it would kind of balance out.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so he asked the question, I guess I was set up. I mean, that's right, I mean, it's the reverse. These are out-of-district applications for students coming here. Your question's about the reverse, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
That is correct.
yeah.
All right, I have a motion. John, do I have a second?
No second.
Ashley? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to 7, recommended action, new business. A, review approve final forms agreement. What was that again?
So Final Forms is something that athletics brought to us.
Oh, that's right.
You know, that high school and middle school are going to divvy up costs for, that allows parents to be able to take a student's physical and some other information that they have to fill out for athletics, upload it into this now, instead of the football coach having to gather all the
Right.
physicals at the end of the year and give them to the basketball coach, who passes them to the baseball coach. Stuff gets lost, gets torn up. It's all uploaded in there. Everything's checked. The AD has access to everything. The trainer has access to everything. They don't have to look for it on the bus. If something happens to a student, they've got their insurance information. Heaven forbid something would happen and they're at an away game. And it just puts everything in a nice, tidy place that they can access on their phone.
Perfect.
Make a motion, we approve it.
Second,
I'll second.
All,
teacher.
all in favor?
Aye.
B, review approved salary schedule for the 25-26 school year.
I'll so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
C, review approved staff start time and end dates for 25-26.
I'll so move.
Like it. Do I have a
He's trying to
second?
beat you, Becky.
You won that one.
I second. All in favor?
Hold it.
Whoa.
Questions?
Question?
Where do we rank? I mean, how's this compared to other schools in our general area?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't necessarily look. You know, the reason behind it was, it was kind of brought up, and until somebody mentioned it, I hadn't even looked at it to see, some variety within teacher work times every day, which I found, I think the biggest difference was about 20 minutes between teachers in different buildings, get paid the same amount of money, but yet working in different buildings. So this was
just a kind of a conformity.
this was
making
done
everything
just to
uniform.
level it out, and then opened up a little bit of time to increase time with students. We still got, bodies in the buildings 20 minutes before students arrive, 20 minutes after they leave for supervisory purposes. And, we added time to the school day for kids, so.
As far as time for kids, what's the additional there?
So if you look at what's at the top, it went from 6.83 and 6.91 to 7 1/4.
About a quarter of an hour.
Yeah, so you're looking 20 to 25 minutes extra built into the schedule every day. And so if we can't do more with that, then shame on us.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's all I got.
Do we have a motion and a second?
We do, and then we had an all in favor, and that was everybody but John. Where were you at? So that
Yeah,
makes us
yeah, I'm
five. Five, okay. All right, moving on to item 7D, review approval of first reading of the technology acceptable use form policy for the online registration 25-26 school year. Would we change on that? Anything? Oh, that's right. You said something about instead of laptops, it's devices.
Yeah, because I feel like, to me, if I'm a parent, I'm gonna be like, well, that doesn't cover me because my kid doesn't have a laptop. They have an iPad or
Okay.
whatever else. And then I added a piece in there where Google and some of those other companies now that does education, they have a rule about 13 and under. You gotta get parent permission.
Okay.
That kind of covers that. And then there's some stuff in there about AI, just some suggestions from different technology places about how to kind of word things in there and kind of get us going in that direction. Because
Yep.
like we all know, AI is coming.
Yeah.
Already.
It's here.
It's
It's
here.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I had a feeling that's why I had to ask that vote. All right, 4-1. Item E, review approved school resource officer SRO agreement with the Gallatin County Sheriff Department 25-26 school year.
No changes to that.
No, ma'am.
Worked well last year.
Yes.
No
Doing very well, I
issues.
think, yeah. That's
Yeah.
Okay. Vicky, is that a motion?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Do I have a second? Hargis, all in favor? Aye. Are we gonna adjourn and then, were we gonna talk about yours? Or did we decide we were doing that under retreat?
You're just giving us copies.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just giving you
Just give us a
copies of
Okay,
everything.
item 8, adjournment.
That's mine.
Gotcha, John. Do I have a second?
He takes
Second.
ownership, doesn't he?
Ashley, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. All right, thank you.